You know that feeling, right? When something just slips out and instantly you wish you could, like, reel it back in.
Oh, yeah. Or you do something and there's that immediate nope, bad call signal in your brain.
Exactly. We've all been there. It's pretty universal, I think.
Absolutely. That little internal cringe. Definitely a human thing.
Well, today on the deep dive, we're not just gonna, sigh about those moments. We actually want to dig into mistakes and regrets,
Hmm.
but not just as these, like, negative feelings we want to forget.
Right. More like tools, surprisingly powerful tools for learning and, well, growing.
Exactly. We've been looking at this really interesting lesson that focuses on understanding these experiences.
Yeah. And not just understanding, but actually figuring out how to get something valuable from them.
So our mission for this deep dive, and hey, you're listening, so you're a part of this, is to get a clearer picture of what mistakes and regrets even are.
Hmm. How they affect us, emotionally.
And crucially, how we can actively use them, like turn them into fuel for personal development.
Yeah, this is really geared towards helping you, the listener, handle those, why did I do that? Moments maybe a bit more effectively. Give you some perspective.
Okay, let's get down to it then. What actually is a mistake? Our source material kind of defines it as, well, doing something wrong.
And often, um, unintentionally, right?
Mm.
That seems key.
Yeah, that's a good starting point. It's like a deviation from what you meant to happen.
Think about everyday stuff. A typo in an email, that counts.
Or calling someone by the wrong name for a second.
Exactly, those little slips, often just attention lapses or maybe skill-based things.
Right, those minor whoops moments, they
Hmm.
don't usually carry a huge weight. And the lesson we looked at, it specifically mentioned by mistake.
Ah, yeah. That phrase signifies it was accidental, like you didn't intend it, no purpose behind it.
Often happens because you're distracted. Or maybe in a rush.
Precisely. It takes away the idea that it was a deliberate screw up. It's more about an unintended result because something went slightly wrong in the process. The source even had this really relatable example, I thought. Imagine you're on a super busy train.
Right.
You get to your stop, grab your bags, or what you think are all your bags, get off.
Oh no, I see where this is going.
And then like half an hour later, it hits you.
Yeah.
Your main suitcase. Still on the luggage rack, trundling towards the next station.
Oh, that's the worst. Total travel nightmare fuel. I can absolutely see that happening.
And the lesson points out, yeah, those kinds of mistakes often come from the stress, the sort of sensory overload of busy places.
Makes sense. So in that situation, you'd naturally say, shoot, I left my suitcase on the train by mistake.
Yeah. And what's interesting is how mistakes exist on this
Ah,
this spectrum.
a spectrum. How so?
Well, you've got the really small things like forgetting your umbrella when it's clearly about to rain,
Mm,
minor inconvenience.
okay.
But then they can scale up, right, to much more significant decisions, things with bigger, maybe even life-altering consequences.
Right. And it's often when we look back at those bigger things, or sometimes even the smaller ones with hindsight, that's when regret can start to show up.
Exactly.
So what's regret then in this picture? How does it fit in?
Regret is more the emotional side. That feeling, often sadness or maybe disappointment, when we think about something we did, or maybe something we didn't do.
Ah, the inaction thing too.
Yeah, it's that voice inside going, man, I wish I'd done that differently. Or if only I hadn't said that.
Gotcha. Those if-only loops we get stuck in sometimes. The lesson had some classic examples, didn't it?
It did. Things like wishing you'd started learning English or Spanish or whatever earlier in life.
Or quitting piano lessons as a kid. I hear that one a lot.
Yeah. Or, saying something hurtful to a friend and then just cringing about it later.
Okay. And it's important to stress feeling this way is, well, it's normal, isn't it?
Totally normal.
Mm.
Part of being human is reflecting on the past and thinking about how things might have gone. We all do it.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting for me, regret isn't just about feeling bad, is it?
No, not at all.
It can actually be a powerful motivator.
Absolutely. If you think about it, that feeling of disappointment, that discomfort, it can be a really strong nudge towards making different choices in the future.
Ah, okay.
Kind of prompts this internal course correction. Didn't like how that felt. Won't do that again.
Which leads us perfectly into the next big idea, actually learning from mistakes.
Yeah.
The lesson really hammered this phrase, learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Sounds simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually quite a bit packed into that idea.
Yeah, what does it really mean?
Well, it's definitely more than just feeling bad for a minute. It means actively, like engaging with what happened,
Okay.
trying to understand the sequence of events. What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? And then consciously thinking, okay, how can I handle this differently next time?
It's a process, an act of reflection.
Exactly. It's structured thinking about the error.
Right. Like going back to the suitcase example, forgetting it once. That's a pretty big incentive to, I don't know, develop a serious double-checking habit before getting off any train or bus in the future.
Huh. Absolutely. Lesson learned, quite literally in that case.
Yeah.
And this is so relevant for things like, say, learning a language.
Oh, definitely.
Making mistakes is just, it's unavoidable. It's part of the deal.
Yeah.
You will mess up pronunciation, use the wrong grammar, grab the wrong word.
Happens all the time.
But, as the lesson pointed out, these aren't failures. They're feedback. Really crucial feedback.
Okay, feedback. How so?
They show you're trying, you're engaging, you're speaking, you're putting yourself out there. And that's how you learn. The mistakes highlight where you need to adjust.
So it really comes down to cultivating a specific mindset around mistakes, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
The lesson even mentioned this, like, quite radical idea of not believing in regrets. That's a big shift.
It is a strong stance. The thinking behind it, though, is that even experiences we first label as negative or bad,
Yeah.
they ultimately offer something, some kind of lesson, some growth.
Even if it doesn't feel like it at the time.
Right. You might come out of a mistake feeling maybe more resilient, or with new knowledge you didn't have before,
Yeah.
or just a clearer sense of yourself.
And the lesson suggested some practical self-talk, which I liked. Things like,
Yeah.
okay, that was a mistake, sure, but what did I actually learn? Or next time I'll try this instead.
Mm-hmm. Or even just acknowledging progress. I'm getting better,
Yeah.
even if it feels slow.
It's about consciously reframing it, changing how we talk to ourselves about those moments.
Exactly. When you intentionally choose to see mistakes as like learning opportunities instead of just failures,
Yeah.
it actually reduces the fear around making them in the first place. And less fear means you're more willing to try things, to take small risks.
Which ultimately means more progress.
Precisely. You move forward instead of getting stuck.
Okay, cool. So just to make sure we've got this all locked down, let's do a quick recap, those key terms.
Good idea.
We had mistake, something going wrong, often unintentional.
Yep.
Yeah,
Then by mistake, meaning accidentally, no intention.
right. Then regret, that feeling of sadness or disappointment about the past, things done or not done.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the most important one, learn from your mistakes.
The active process, understanding, planning for the future.
Exactly. These are like foundational concepts. Understanding them can really change how you react to things.
Totally. So for you listening, here's a little challenge, a moment for reflection.
Okay?
Think about a small mistake you made recently. It doesn't have to be huge, just something minor.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually pause and think, what can I take away from this?
Yeah, take a second with that. Can you actually put your finger on the lesson learned? What was the takeaway?
The source material even suggested, like, writing it down or just saying it out loud to yourself.
Or maybe telling someone,
Mm.
making that learning concrete somehow.
Yeah. And a really good way to make this stick is to practice using the words. Try making sentences about your own experiences, using mistake, by mistake, regret, and learn from mistakes. Connect it to your life.
Ah, right. That active application, that's how it moves from just being an idea to being part of how you actually think and operate. Good point.
So wrapping this up, the main takeaway seems to be that mistakes aren't really, the end of the road.
No, quite the opposite sometimes.
Mm.
They can be the start of real growth.
And regret. That feeling, while maybe uncomfortable,
Yeah.
it can show you care, that you want to do better.
Mm-hmm. It signals a desire for improvement.
And the skill of actually learning from those mistakes.
That's huge. That's not just for like language class. That's a life skill. It helps you everywhere.
Couldn't agree more. So keep learning, keep trying things out, and yeah, try to embrace the mistakes. They're just part of the journey, right? Towards fluency, confidence, whatever your goal is.
Well said. And speaking of journeys, for our next deep dive, we're actually shifting tracks a bit.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get into the world of trains, buses, public transport, something most of us deal with pretty regularly.
Ah, okay. From metaphorical journeys to literal ones. Nice.
Exactly.
So, final thought for you to chew on this week. How can you consciously, actively shift your perspective?
Mm-hmm.
How can you start looking at your past mistakes less like moments to be embarrassed about and more like genuinely valuable lessons? Lessons that have actually shaped who you are now and who you're becoming.
Something to think about.